More mailbags.
Love them.
I love the mailbags. They're always fun. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. We have a ton more to get to today. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast. He's Reuben Frank.
I hope we get another one from Matzo Ball Hoop.
I'm Dave Zangaro. I hope so too. That's a good Twitter handle. Has your Twitter handle always? Did you have a Twitter before you worked at NBC's CSN?
No, I didn't actually.
So your first Twitter handle was just Roob CSN, I guess.
Yeah, I can't remember if I think that's what it was from the start.
Okay,
a long time ago.
Yeah.
I
think we're one of the few companies that, like, most of our people still have that. Like, the OGs of our company have, like, the letters at the end.
I know one thing I don't have is blue check mark anymore.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I kind of miss it. I don't feel special anymore. All right.
You ready for these questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a lot of them. That first one from Rick P. with a bunch of numbers. You say you can't name 10 wide receivers better than the Slim Reaper. Okay, who you got? Is AJ in your top 9? And I'm assuming this is kind of a reference to one of your 10 observations was about Davante and how good he was, especially at the second half of the 2022 season. We both have Davante Smith as a top 10 receiver. We did this on Birds Huddle.
We did, and our lists were shockingly similar. We're a little different.
Alarmingly similar.
Yeah, frighteningly similar, because we generally disagree on just about everything. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Should I just give my list first?
Sure.
And I know our top 2 we had flip-flopped. I went Davante Adams first and Justin Jefferson second, just because he's done it for so long. I mean, the funny thing about Davante was that he really wasn't until his third or fourth season that he really became a force for the Packers. But the point he's at now, I mean, just every year he's an all-pro. It gets in the end zone. God, he's got
probably the most respected receiver by his opponents.
I would agree. Has 43 touchdown catches the last 3 years. That's big. So I went Davante first, Justin Jefferson second, then I went Tyreek, Cooper Kupp fourth. He was hard to place just because he missed half the season last year, but I put him fourth. AJ fifth, Stephon Diggs sixth, CeeDee Lamb seventh, Jamar Chase eighth, Jalen Waddle. Jamar Chase might be a little low. Maybe I could see putting him above CD, but then I went Waddle ninth and Davante 10th.
Yeah, we were similar. The one difference, I had Waddle out of my top 10 and Terry McLaurin in there. However you want to do that. I had Justin Jefferson, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin, Davante Smith. For me,
you had Kupp eighth.
Yeah, it
It
was tough because the injury, but the point is
half the year and only caught like 89 balls.
The point is Davante is either a top 10 receiver or he's right there. If you wanted to have, McLaurin or Waddle instead of him, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, like, I get it.
Those are the guys, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, and Mike Evans, who I think is pretty underrated.
Been good for a long time.
He's just really solid every year. He's never been the best guy in the league, but those are my next group. And I figured Davante deserved to be ahead of him.
And I think Davante is climbing this list.
Yeah,
it's tricky because like him and Jalen Waddle are kind of similar in a lot of ways, and the biggest way, not just school, but because they're second in their receiver duo.
Right.
We have Tyreek Hill in Miami and AJ Brown in Philly. So like the opportunity is going to be a little different for those guys.
Yeah, exactly. You have to take all that into account. I don't really look at AJ as 1 and Davante as 2. I probably should. I look at him as 1 and 1A. Or I think with
is that really any different?
1A and 1B. I don't know. I look at Hill as more of a 1 and Waddle as a 2. That's probably not fair. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I just have so much faith in Davante.
Yeah, which you should. There's no reason not to. And he's an ascending player still. Like I think he's 10 now, but he can climb this list.
And it's crazy. I mean, this team's history of drafting wide receivers from Kenny Jackson to Freddie Mitchell, Reggie Brown in the second round, and J-Jaw. And, say we want about Nelly. He had his moments, and they came in the biggest possible imaginable moment, but was not a successful pick overall.
20th overall pick.
20th overall pick. You want a little bit more. Just so many of those guys. They finally got one right.
Yeah, it certainly did. And it was a pretty easy one to get right. That Heisman Trophy winner. Just draft that guy.
Yeah.
Next one from Keen Carlton 52. What made you both get into journalism?
Wait.
I added this one.
Oh,
Relax.
I don't have that.
Yeah. It came in after I sent you the questions.
Oh, because I got one that came in late too. What is the question?
I like that threw you off that much.
It really did.
What made you both get into journalism?
Couldn't do anything else. What's your?
I honestly always wanted to do it. Like,
did you major in journalism at Rowan or Glassboro State?
Rowan. Yeah, Rowan. Jeez, man.
I don't know. I don't know when it changed over.
Yeah, well after I got, or well before I got there, I should say. I honestly middle school age is when I've always felt very lucky. Like I knew what I wanted to do. I just had to figure out how to get there. But I always felt bad for people who didn't know what they wanted to do. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I understand that. But I always felt very lucky. I knew what I wanted to do. I just had to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
I wanted to, I was always very good at English and writing, and I love sports. So I put them together, and I wanted to get there. And I did it. So it was cool.
Yeah.
How about you?
Same thing. I mean, I was in college. We had a college newspaper, and it was a really good one. It was an independent paper. The transcript, it was independent from the school. We didn't get any money in the budget from the school, so it was all had a big advertising department. And I was really this sounds like a lot of fun. Freshman year, I started covering sports, and that led to covering writing stories for the local newspaper, the Delaware Gazette, Delaware, Ohio, tiny little daily. And I'll never forget seeing my first story in there, thinking,
there's something about that
I could get used to this.
That I miss working for a website. It's seeing oh, that's my story in print. I can hold it. Yeah. That
was cool but I did enough of that.
I didn't do it as long.
No, you did not. No, I was at Burlington for 25 years. I was at Gloucester for 3 years and Burlington for 25 years before I came over here. But I'm the same way. It just always seemed like a really fun thing to do.
You know what's really funny? I never I always just wanted to write. I never thought about being on TV or doing, I don't think podcasts weren't a thing, but doing radio. I never thought about any of that stuff. I just wanted to report and write. And really, initially, I wanted to be a columnist. I wanted people to hear my opinions. And the more I got in, I was I'll give opinions, but I like the reporting aspect of it.
My favorite thing, and what quickly kind of hooked me, was just being able to tell a story about an athlete who had a really good story background. And once I started doing that, I was I got addicted pretty quickly. I still am. Yeah.
And then, not to say I don't enjoy the other aspects of the job. And in fact, that's become fun. There's the new challenges all the time.
Yeah.
Remember the first time you ever had to do a TV show and you had to read teleprompter?
Oh, yeah.
How freaking hard is that?
Yeah.
People don't realize how difficult that is to read a teleprompter and make it seem like you're
the
just
hardest
talking.
thing for me, and I started doing prompter when we were doing quick slants with Gunner, is half the show is in a prompter and half the show is ad-libbing, and you want to sound the same.
The same. It's hard.
That is hard.
You see people like Gunner and our other folks here, Danny's great at it.
Yeah.
Amy's great at it. Taryn's great at it. They're just so smooth with it. And you're man, it reminds you, oh yeah, I'm not really a TV person.
Yeah.
All right. Next one from the Sauce 54. How worried should we be about the safety position?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I don't know about worried, but certainly a concern. There's a lot of projecting going on here at linebacker and safety. So, whether it's Edmonds or Sidney or Reed or whatever the combination there, or somebody else, it's going to be someone that's got a big giant question mark next to their name.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a concern.
Yeah. And so I'm going to pair this next question with it. This is from Kid. Do you think Sidney Brown can become our safety starter this season? I think that kind of plays into it because they have three guys really who are fighting for two jobs. And I think Sidney has to play catch up just because he's a rookie.
Yeah. And I think it's a good question by because
I think that was too many.
Yeah, there's just a lot of unknowns. I like Sidney, and I think they like Sidney, and I'm on the record as saying I think he'll be a starter, maybe early. If he has a good camp, I just think it would make sense. He's got to have a good camp though, because if he doesn't, Terrell Edmonds, he's a guy that's played a lot of football. He started a lot of games. He's smart.
That's why I think it's gonna be tough for Sidney to break the lineup right away.
He's gonna have to be really good in camp. No doubt about it.
Yeah, safety can be a tricky position for a young player, which makes what Reed did last year that much more impressive.
True.
It's a tough position to just step in and play in the NFL. We'll see. All right, next one from Zach Zolo, and I believe this is a question for you, Reuben Frank. Philly band you wish had more of a cultural impact nationwide.
Oh, interesting one. Cultural impact. That's kind of...
Or even, how about a Philly band you think deserves more burn?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a band called RFA, and sadly no longer together. They are literally one of my favorite bands ever, and nobody knows them. The first time I saw them was in Manayunk at like an arts and crafts festival, and I saw they were playing. There was like 6 bands playing. I was like, I'll go over and see the bands. And I'd read something about RFA somewhere. They're in the back of my mind. Go see them sometime.
What does it stand for?
It doesn't stand for anything. When they were like 12 or 13 years old, they were all friends. They all went to St. Joe's Prep together, and they joked about starting a band called Really Fast Cars. They were like 12, and then they shortened it to RFA, and they just kept the name because they liked the way it sounded. But automobiles, obviously cars would be. But
I was like, I don't know. I don't know much, but
RFA,
cars starts
really
with
fast
C.
automobiles. So I went over. It was Pretzel Park in Manayunk. There's a little park. There's a little craft festival, and nobody was there. I mean, there were like 20 people at the whole thing, and this band comes on, RFA. And I was actually standing there with Ben Arnold, great Ben Arnold, great singer, performer, songwriter from Philly. And we watched their set. I was like, this is like one of the greatest bands I've ever seen in my life. They kind of sounded like the Strokes meet like the Strokes meet like the Kinks. I mean, just like great songs, great guitar playing, tons of energy. And they got bigger and bigger. They played Exponential Festival. I saw them up at Music Fest in Allentown one year. And they just got better and better. And then they just, outside of Philly, nobody ever heard of them. And they broke up. And some of the guys are in a band called Echo Kid now. But RFA, literally, no one knows them. And they're one of my favorite bands ever. And I wish they were huge.
You know what?
And you get their album for free on their Bandcamp.
Cool.
Just download it. It might be my favorite album ever.
When you were saying that and comparing them to other bands, it kind of made me realize that band comps and player comps, like draft player comps, aren't that dissimilar.
True.
Because like you want to have some frame of reference for this player or this band, but they're their own player and they're their own band and they want to like sound different. They want to play their own style. I think there's some similarities there.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Next one from Boston_sucks. Don't disagree
Probably
there.
not talking about Boston Scott.
I don't think so. More significant overall contribution for the Eagles in 2023, their 2022 draft class or their 2023 draft class?
Interesting question.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you which way I'm going with this. I think it's 2022 because there are 3 starters.
Yeah. Especially if you include Reed. I mean, he wasn't drafted, but
sure. When like I would include him in that.
Yeah.
So maybe 4 starters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Where
Like Jalen Carter's going to play. He's going to have a big role.
Right.
Nolan Smith is going to be a rotational
He'll
guy.
have a
Sidney
role.
Brown could swing it a little bit.
Yeah. But the 2022 class has to be a huge part of this team. Has to.
Yeah, because you have Jordan Davis starting. You very likely have Cam Jurgens starting. You have Nakobe Dean starting.
Right.
And then we think Reed's starting.
Right. So that's, yeah.
Even if they get nothing from Grant Calcaterra or Kyron Johnson, like you're still getting a lot from 2022.
And who knows? Grant has a chance to be tight end too.
Yeah. Think?
His chance.
Okay. Next one from Do Senate. What would it take for Jeff Stoutland eventually to get some Hall of Fame consideration? Any precedence at all for a position coach to get in?
I wish. I mean, there's not even any coordinators that are.
Nah, I mean, it's not happening.
Yeah.
The NFL or not the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame doesn't induct position coaches. Now, last year, they started what they called the Award of Excellence. And it's like they're not Hall of Famers, but it's like an award for position coaches, athletic trainers, people who are important to the game, but equipment managers and PR people. So it's this award. They gave it to 20 people last year because there's obviously a logjam of these like types of people.
And the Eagles PR guys get in?
No, not yet.
Might be a while. Sorry.
Yeah. So like it doesn't happen. I think he'll get into the Eagles Hall of Fame.
There's not a lot of assistant coaches in there.
In the Eagles Hall of Fame?
Looking that up, Jim Johnson's in.
Yeah,
There's a couple.
I would think Jeff Stoutland will get in.
Yeah, he would have to. I did that.
And there are no rules for the Eagles Hall of Fame, really.
Well, there are, but they're not official rules.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles Hall of Fame is interesting. You know, it kind of Norman Brayman like got rid of it. There was no Eagles Hall of Fame for like years.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's back up and running and it's become a thing. But yeah, and Jim Johnson. I mean, there's some assistant coaches who really should get some consideration, but they just don't.
Deuce with the body of work. What do you think about him?
Deuce
Staley, like
in the Eagles Hall of Fame.
Yeah. When you combine player and coach years.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a chunk of like 20 years the guy was here.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, definitely consider him. Yeah.
Carson Walsh?
What about the other Carson?
Probably not.
What about Nick Foles?
Definitely.
How many players on the current team will be in the Eagles Hall of Fame?
4 off the top with the guys who have been here 10 years.
So Lane, Kelsey, BG, and Fletch.
Yeah, those 4 definitely.
Yeah.
Those are the only 4 locks right now. Hurts will be there, but he's not a lock yet.
What would he have to do to not get in?
Become Carson?
I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, it's fair. There's probably no other locks right now, right?
No.
Yeah.
No other locks.
That 2017 team has a bunch.
Yeah, like Malcolm should be in there.
Yeah.
Think Brandon Brooks will get in? 3 Pro Bowls?
Probably not.
No?
I don't know. Maybe.
When you win a championship, it's tough to keep people out. Seriously.
Yeah.
Those guys are heroes.
Yeah, I agree.
All
right.
Who's the next most likely on this team?
After those 4?
Yeah.
Well,
and don't include Jalen.
Probably either Devontae or AJ.
That's what I was thinking.
I'd say. I mean, the fact that Devontae started his career here. I mean, who knows who's going to be here longer?
Mm-hmm.
Would answer that question. I'm going to say AJ.
I would say AJ too.
He's really good.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. Okay, next one from the Scott Snyder, who got one in on the last pod, but this is another good question. If the Eagles never traded for DeAndre Swift, do you think Dalvin Cook would be an Eagle today?
You can make that case. I just think Howie and analytics say don't. How many? He's played 6 years. He's got almost 1,300 carries, a couple hundred catches, about 1,500 touches.
Yeah, but this late in free agency, do you think Like teams have spent their money.
If it's a cheap 1-year deal, absolutely, absolutely. But if Dalvin's looking for, if he's looking for serious money, then no. I just don't know.
I mean, he can be looking for it. Doesn't mean he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Who knows? By the time people listen to this, he might have a team. But
right. But certainly he's the kind of guy that if they hadn't signed those guys, they would look at. I think he's still really good.
Yeah. I agree with that. He's a good player. He's been a good player since he stepped foot in the league.
A really good receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It'd be fun to have him.
That's for sure. Catch all the sports action and more at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Whether it's the money line or the pass line, there's something for everyone in a great sports book. Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Philly loves a winner. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. We'll move right along here. Next one from Joe Kornick. This is a question for you, Rube. Should I go see
why do you assume all the music questions are
Christopher Cross and Justin Hayward at the Keswick Theater on June 25th?
Christopher Cross had that.
Is that Chris Cross, like the hip hop?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh,
Christopher Cross had that. Remember, was it General Hospital? Think of Laura. That song, wasn't that him? The Luke and Laura song. And he did. What was his big hit? He had like "Ride Like the Wind" or something. He's pretty awful. He had one big hit? Oh, "Sailing" was him. He did the Arthur's theme. Never Be the Same. It's all yacht rock. Think of Laura. Think of Laura was the big General Hospital song. I can't stand the guy. Justin Hayward was in the Moody Blues.
Okay.
Another band. I saw the Moody Blues in college in Cincinnati. We went down because Patrick Moraz from Yes had joined them. So I only went down to see him play, keyboard player, and never couldn't hear him the whole concert. He was potted down so low in the mix.
That's not good.
I drove from Central Ohio down to Cincinnati for this concert with a bunch of guys from my dorm.
It always stinks when you go to a show and the sound's off.
Well, it was intentional, and he quit the band and sued him soon after.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's kind of more fun, actually.
Yeah, it was really.
I was just got in a fight up there.
Breathe deep, the gathering gloom. I think they're awful. I mean, I never say no, don't go to concert because concerts are fun. But I certainly wouldn't go see Christopher Cross and Justin Hayward.
Okay. All right. Next one from Philly Reply Guy 1. Who do you think will lead the team in receptions this year? I feel like Brown, Smith, and Goddard could all potentially catch the most.
Yeah. The more interesting question is who will be fourth.
Yeah.
I'll say Swift will be fourth.
I think I'd say Quez.
Could be Quez, could be Gainwell. I'll go.
Swift's not a bad answer though.
I'll go Swift.
Yeah.
Brown, Smith, and Goddard. Gotti.
Who would you go with there?
I'm gonna go. I'm tempted to say Goddard, but I'm gonna go Devontae.
I think it's Devontae.
Yeah,
it's tough to vote against him after he set the franchise record for catches.
Yeah, he could have 100.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean like he's going to be the best of the three.
Oh, but he could be. But
he could be. Yeah,
I think for volume.
Yeah, he seems like more the volume guy.
Yeah.
Look, AJ could certainly do it.
It
wouldn't surprise you. No, but Goddard and Brown have gotten injuries in their career too.
Right.
Like that, AJ stayed healthy last year for the most part, which was great.
What was Goddard on pace for last year? Let's take a look at that. Would he miss 5 games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he missed 5.
So he caught 55 in 12 games, which would have put him on pace for 78 in 17 games. I don't know if he could go much higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae caught 95 last year, which is crazy. And they like a lot of close passes to Devontae, like near the line of scrimmage passes.
Right.
I don't think that's going to go away.
No, I agree.
And if AJ gets the type of coverage shaded his way, you're going to keep feeding Devontae.
Agree.
Yeah. I think that just makes sense. All right, next one from Eagles Optimist. Which new face in the defense is most likely to succeed? And they list 4 guys here: Dean, Davis, Carter, Smith. So the Georgia guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think of Jordan Davis as a new face. He played 300 and some odd snaps last year. But out of those four, I think Jalen Carter is the closest thing to a.
He's the best player.
He's the closest thing to a.
Like sometimes I think we overthink this stuff. Like he's really good.
He's really good, and I would say Jalen Carter.
Okay.
You agree?
Yeah, I think so.
But I do think at the position he plays, Nakobe has a chance to be a big time playmaker and get some numbers and get some stats. But I think when you look at the impact they have on the defense, it'll be Jalen Carter.
All right, next one, Smitty for 6. How big of a role impact will rookies Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith have on the Eagles defense? We kind of answered that a little bit. Jalen's going to have a big impact. He's going to have to be a starter. He's replacing Javon Hargrave. And I know that's like lofty and that's tough to like just say it's a 1-for-1, but it's a 1-for-1. He has to be really good right away.
And he was the 9th pick in the draft, so he's got to be really good right away. I think he will be. He's got all the tools to make it happen. He better be.
And like I think this is a nice, cushy landing spot for Nolan Smith.
It's a great role for him.
Because he's like a lot of times it's just inherent pressure being the first-round pick. But he's not the first-round pick. He has a guy who's going to have more pressure on him in Jalen Carter. He's the 4th edge rusher with 3 guys ahead of him who each had double digits last year. It's a great spot for him to be in. He's going to get a ton of just pure pass rush reps.
Yeah, and I think
against tired offensive tackles.
He's going to come in with fresh legs and just go after the quarterback against And I think he's in a situation with those other guys where he doesn't have to be the guy. And he's in a situation with Jalen Carter where he doesn't have to be the guy because he was taken earlier. So
all the pressure's off. Not that I don't think he can handle pressure. Like knowing what I know about him, like I think he would probably embrace pressure.
But it's a great situation for him to really flourish.
Yeah.
Just finished your sentence.
Kiev 1969. Is NBC going to charter a helicopter for your daily commute?
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard that 95.
Well, this is going out in a few weeks, so I'm sure 95 will be repaired by then.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Today is, as we're recording it, today was the first time I've gotten down here.
How was it?
It wasn't as bad as I thought. The last mile before we got back on 95 took about 20 minutes.
Okay.
But there'd be a 20-minute backup on 95 anyway. I left the house at 5:30 just to try to beat the traffic. But once I get back on 95, there's nobody on the road. I don't think anybody's taking 95.
Interesting.
I mean, because usually it backs up like where it's the split for Vine Street Expressway. There was nobody there. It was also like 6:20 in the morning. So that might have been part of it. I think the drive home is going to be worse. Yeah. How long do you think it's going to take?
I don't know.
I haven't heard any official estimates.
I'm just glad I don't go that way.
Well, I might come down the Blue Route some days.
Yeah, I think people are going to have this by the time people listen to this, like people will figure out their ways around it.
I'm thinking about just going into Jersey, like Burlington Bristol Bridge and going out to 295 and down.
It's not a terrible idea.
To the Bend or even down 130. But I figured 130, it's already crowded.
Yeah.
It's going to be worse. So.
Yeah, that road probably can't take much more.
I could take Burlington Bristol and then just go out, 537, pick up 295. Yeah. Okay. But there's no easy answer.
No, there isn't. All right, next one. And no helicopters for us.
No chopper.
Zach Goodrich, sleeper. Have you ever been on a helicopter?
I never have.
It's pretty cool.
Have you been on one?
Yeah, I've been on a few. They're fun. Yeah.
Where was that?
I haven't done like just travel on one. I've done like tours and stuff. I did one in Alaska. I've done one in like San Francisco area.
Really?
Yeah. They're fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah. All right, next one. Zach Goodrich. Sleepers to have an awesome training camp and make the roster, otherwise thought to be on the practice squad. So some bubble players who, if you had to do a 53, you'd have them off the roster, but have a shot.
Well, you know who I'm going to say.
Oh, Devin Allen?
Sure. He's a long shot, but he's got this one trait that if he shows up in camp, I mean, he literally shows up because he's in Europe right now.
How do you run in Paris?
He fell in the semifinals.
Oh,
He didn't finish the race.
it's not ideal.
No, he's okay. He's not hurt, but yeah.
Did he trip?
I didn't see the race. I just saw the agate. People still say agate.
That's not a word anyone is going to know.
Nobody knows what agate is. I used to go to track meets and you have to type up all the results. It was called agate.
I know. When I used to work on the desk at the newspaper and someone would be like, I have track results. I'm like, oh, no. There goes 20 minutes.
I'm going to bore everyone with this, but like, so you used to go to the state track championships, like, and there'd be maybe like 30 different newspapers there. Not anymore, but there'd be like 30 newspapers there. And everyone would have their own guy type in agate, type in the results. And you're talking about like 15, 16 events for like group 1, group 2, group 3, boys and girls. And it was just miles and miles of agate. Why couldn't like everyone just get together and hire one guy to do it? And like it was such a waste of manpower and time and effort and energy.
Yeah.
And nobody ever figured that out. Anyway, so Devin Allen's won. That's a good question. You have anybody in mind?
Yeah, I put together a list of a few guys. One, Trey Sermon. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Kyron Johnson, we've kind of forgotten about, but now he's playing off-ball linebacker. So, like, not a good sign for him, but linebacker is a position where I don't really know what they have, which is also why I have Davion Taylor on this list.
I wrote about him in my 10 obs a few weeks ago.
And the other one, Trevor Reed, who's an undrafted offensive tackle from Louisville, who I think of like the undrafted guys is one player I'll be keeping an eye on.
How about a guy like Charleston Rambo?
Yeah, we'll see. They gave him the number 43. Not a good start.
Not a good sign. Eli Ricks is a cornerback who's undrafted.
They just don't have spots at corner.
Don't have any. But I mean, if that's the question, is like what guy could, make the practice squad. I mean, if he has a good camp.
Well, the question was make the roster.
Yeah, I mean, never it's going to happen with injuries and stuff.
Like Joseph Ngata, Clemson, undrafted.
Yeah,
because they don't have a lot of receivers.
How about like a guy? I don't know if he qualifies, but like a Jomo, 7th round pick.
He was a draft pick, so I don't think that would like surprise anyone.
But a 7th round pick.
Yeah,
is a crapshoot.
They kept both of their 6s last year.
Right, 7th. Yeah.
I think Jomo will be on the team.
He has a shot. Yeah.
I would have him on the roster now.
Interesting.
Okay, next one from Mzilla57. What positions do you think Howie is keeping an eye on the market for? Is free safety still in play with all the pieces we've got so far? Or do you think it's wait and see scenario? I think with safety, it's wait and see.
Yeah, I think the real answer is every position, because that's just Howie's nature. He's going to keep an eye on every position. But the operative answer is going to be linebacker. He's going to keep an eye out for everything. But linebacker is the one that I think every day he's just going to be scouring the waiver wire, looking at rosters, having a list of guys who, if they become available, they're going to jump on. I think they have to. And, running, receiving depth, you can see him adding a guy.
Yeah, they're not super deep at receiver. Kind of curious about guys like Ngata and Rambo.
Yeah, they have a lot of
Jaden Hazelwood. Just like some of those, if any of those guys kind of stands out enough to maybe earn a roster spot. And if they really look bad, you might need to bring someone else in.
Yeah. But as far as proven depth, they have a lot of bodies, but I could definitely see them adding a receiver. Any
other positions you think they might add?
He's always looking for linemen, interior linemen, guys to bring in and they always seem to be adding an interior lineman. But that's probably it.
Yeah. Okay, next one from K.A. Rogers 77. Given the rules or the new rules on kickoffs, what strategies do you think the Eagles special teams will use on their kicks and on coverage to maximize their field position? Thanks and have a great summer. You too, Kevin.
I think they'll use the wrong strategies.
I don't think there are strategies.
As long as Michael Clay's I don't know what you can do.
There was strategy with the rules the way they were, because you'd have pop kicks, you'd have those mortar kicks, and you would try to play that field position game. But with the new rule, I don't know. I guess you just try to boot it deep, because I don't know what else are you gonna do.
Yeah,
it's like, why even kick it off? Start at the 25.
I think, are we getting to that point?
Well, what's the point of kicking off if they're just going to start at 25 anyway?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I guess the difference is like if you're down late in the game, maybe the team will try to return one. But I don't know. I hate the new rule. I hate it.
Yeah, I would rather just get rid of kickoffs.
Yeah. I don't want to get rid of kickoffs. I like the rules the way they were. I like that there was a strategy element to like, hey, try to pop up a kick inside the 5 and see if you can get them to return it to the 15 and then save yourself 10. I thought that was fun. Guys make their livings on that, and the league is not happy about it.
Yeah.
No one's happy. Have you heard any player or coach be like, I like that. It makes sense.
No.
Yeah. And this, I don't get it. All right, next one.
I like when Dave gets worked up.
It's just like, it's so stupid. No one wanted that.
I understand.
Yeah. Next one from Eagle Will. Delaware beaches or New Jersey beaches?
Yeah, I'm not a beach guy. I don't like sand.
My dad doesn't like sand.
I like Maine beaches, Agunquit, kind of Bunkport.
They don't have sand.
Wells Beach.
They don't have sand up there.
I just like if I'm going to go to the beach, it's going to be far away from here.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't like beaches here. I mean, you know what I like? I kind of like Belmar, that area.
Okay.
Long Beach Island. Cape May is kind of cool. I like Cape May, but not for the beach. I guess there is a beach. I just don't like beaches. I don't like sand. I don't like being hot. I get bored.
I'm a beach guy.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah.
You're a big beach guy?
I spend my summers on the beach.
Were you ever a lifeguard?
No. I'm a good swimmer, though. I like to go swimming in the ocean.
Really?
Big ocean swimmer.
I learned how to swim in the ocean.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my brother, we were up in Maine, and my brother bet me I couldn't learn to swim by the end of the day. And I just got in the water and started swimming in the Atlantic Ocean right off Peaks Island in Maine.
That's good.
And by the end of the day, I was swimming 300 yards each way.
Yeah. Oh, my answer to the question, I've never been, I don't think I've ever been really to a Delaware beach. So I'd say New Jersey beaches, but that's out of ignorance.
Friends that just got a house at Bethany Beach and they loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's more out of ignorance because I've never been.
Yeah, I've never been there.
I like the beach. So I'll spend a day at the beach, go down there with a few drinks. I read a lot on the beach. That's my favorite beach thing. Read a lot. And then if I have some friends with me, I'll play bocce ball on the beach a little bit. Some games. Get some games going.
I spent a summer in Agunquit up in Maine, and which is it's like one of the nicest beaches. It's like the cleanest beach, huge tourist town, and I loved being up there. But the only times we went to the beach were to throw a baseball around back in the area where nobody ever.
I like having a catch.
Yeah, that's
on
what
the
we
beach.
Had a catch on the beach.
Then your feet are burning. You got to dig them in.
I think we probably wore sneakers out there.
Oh, jeez. All right. Next one from the Lance Sayers. I have a rule, though. Every time I go to the beach,
it's time for Dave's Rules segment of the podcast.
You've seen this in action. Whenever I'm at the beach, I have to touch the water.
I have seen that.
Yeah, in Manhattan Beach.
Yeah.
Well, it's a rule of mine. And even in the winter, even if it's not a foot, I got to touch the water.
Why is that?
Don't know.
You have too many rules.
Yep. The Lancers, what's more likely? Christian Elliss gets starting time on the defense or Quez Watkins rebounds and has a much better year?
What's more likely is Quez rebound.
Yeah, and this is a little tricky because Christian Elliss starting time is you know what that is.
Yeah.
Quez Watkins rebounding and having a better year is a little bit up to what you think it is.
I think my answer would be Quez just because we've seen him.
Yeah, I think that I'm with you on that.
We've seen Christian Elliss make 2 interceptions in OTAs. So.
Yeah, there's there's a body of work from Quez at least.
Exactly.
He has done it.
Yeah.
And the next question is a Quez question too. It's the last one from
question.
B Lippincott 5. I know reports have been positive about Quez.
Wait. I don't think that's true. I think Nick has said he's had this incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's reports. It's just Nick saying that.
Yeah. Let me finish the thing. We can correct him after I read the full.
Sorry, B Lippincott 5.
I know reports have been positive about Quez. Do you feel he will be the wide receiver 3 or think they can get someone better? Now you can do the thing.
Well, I think if he's not 3, it'll be Zacchaeus. Will be 3. I think he can. I'm not convinced he will.
And I'm with you that no one's really reported. We haven't seen enough in spring. That was Nick coming out and saying,
Yeah, and right after he said it, he had a drop in the bubble.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Well, he did. So we saw 2 practices. One practice, he had a nice catch down the field. The next one, he dropped one. So
yeah. I
don't think they'll like go out and try to sign someone else. Like if it's not Quez, it'll be Zacchaeus.
Yeah, I agree. And Zacchaeus he had no drops last year. He's pretty reliable. Guy's gotten better each year. But Quez has that speed. So I think they want him to be 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll do everything they can to rebuild his confidence, which is, I think, why you hear Nick saying this stuff he says. They want to try to build him up, and they'll give him every opportunity to win that job.
Do you think there's a role for both of them?
I think so.
Could Zacchaeus have a bigger role than Pascal last year? Because it's different. I mean, Pascal was big body, do the dirty work, and based on Olamede's size, he's just not going to be that.
Exactly. He's really short.
5'8". Listed 5'8". If a guy's listed at 5'8", he's probably not 5'8".
There's just he doesn't look 5'8", honestly, but there's just not that many balls to go around. So I think he might have a bigger role than Pascal, but not significantly. Maybe 20 catches.
Okay. Good. That's all the questions I had. Did you say you had another ad?
Somebody messaged me and asked what my favorite Killers album is.
Okay.
Are you a fan of the Killers?
Yeah, I am. I'm not like, I don't know their discography. When they're on, I'll listen to them.
So they put out a record 2 years ago called Pressure Machine, and I think it was a commercial flop. I think it's really, really good. And I actually saw them early last year here at Wells Fargo Center, which is where we are. And they didn't play one song from it. It was their last album. They didn't play anything from it. Way to promote.
Most people were probably really happy about that, and you were not.
I don't think most people even know they put it out.
Yeah.
But Pressure Machine's a great record by them. They're a lot better on album than live, I think. I really like their records.
Question for you. What would you prefer? Like a band that you really like, would you prefer their album be better, or would you prefer them to be better live?
Well, the easy answer is you want the album to be better because you can listen to the album anytime. You just can't go see them live anytime. But seeing a band crush it in concert is such a unique, fun, electrifying experience that I would go with that. Yeah,
see, I think I would take the album.
Really?
Yeah, because I love having, like, that's my thing. I can listen to that on. So I listen back to music more than I think you do. Like, you're always like listening to new stuff. Like, if I like an album, it's getting played quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't really listen to old music. I mean, I'll put on Bat Out of Hell once every few months. But there's a band that we saw called Purr from Brooklyn, and they didn't make any impact on me at all. I saw them in last month, early May. And I just got their new record. It's incredible. I'm like, is this the same band? my friend John, who I saw them with, I was like, was Purr any good? Because this record is great. And I don't even remember seeing them. So
what do you think it is? Is it like some bands are just more conducive to that studio environment?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a lot of it is just musicianship and how long they've been together. Maybe they're just starting out on tour. Maybe they've had lineup changes. So the sound in the room could have something to do with it. Like they had some technical issues that day. There's a lot to it. And I have no easy answer for you.
Okay. All right. We're good then? That was the only other question?
That was it.
Okay.
Killers, Pressure Machine. Check it out.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for all those questions. You're getting us through a tough period here where there's not a whole lot going on, and we appreciate it because we want to keep these pods coming throughout the summer, and we will. That's it. This has been Eagle Eye Podcasts. For Roob, I'm Dave. We'll talk to you soon.